Alright, so this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for a painting. And you're going to open this painting the exact same way. You're going to go to File, New, put your name, Block 1. Some students know a little bit about Photoshop, so just want a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to start off with a blank screen, just like I did before. And let's turn my brightness up. If you want like a sky, or if you want a plain colored sky, instead of taking your paintbrush and coming on here with a blue color, or let's do a blue. And where's my paintbrush? And you have a regular old brush, and then you just make it really big and sit here. That's gigantic. A lot of times I'll see kids trying to paint their whole document blue, and it just is silly. A couple things that you could do is you can use a paint bucket tool. And you can pick whatever blue you want if you're trying to make a sky here and use your paint bucket. Or, I'm going to turn this white again. Or I can come up to the paint bucket again. Let's see. I'm going to click and hold, and there's paint bucket or there's gradient. The gradient tool is kind of cool. There's a couple presets here. And I always pick like a darker blue. Let's pick like this blue, and then switch it down here and do your lighter blue, so that when I take my mouse, I can switch it and go from the top of the sky all the way down to like the lighter blue. You can even do like funky ones with a circle in the middle and like a flag type pattern. You can do, I think this one's like double, and this one's the star. Do you have to do this? No. Can you? Yeah, it gives you a nice little option. So I have my background color. I always start with my background color, and then what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll start adding my painting. Something that you guys can do is add a layer. Over here in your layers palette, there's a trash can. You'll notice this is the background, and that's just your color. If you're going to start adding colors and adding a variety of things to your painting, I'm going to add a new layer. And that's just like an invisible cellophane. You can turn layers on and off, so I just turned my background on. Say I'm going to go and make my tree over here. I'm going to go back to my black and white and then go to my brown. I use my paintbrush, and I pick up my brown. And I start working on this tree. I'm working on this tree on layer 1. So if I hate the tree in the long run, I can just delete layer 1, and I'm not screwing up my background. And you can do that for all of your aspects for your painting. You don't have to. Is it nice to go ahead and do that? Sometimes, because if you spend a lot of time working on something like this, you don't want to go ahead and ruin parts that you spend a lot of time and you really like. You can't go ahead and do this later because you'll have to specifically select those areas. So if I turn my background layer off, there's the trunk of my tree. And I can go ahead and name this layer if I wanted to, and later we're going to talk more about naming layers. You just double click on layer 1, trunk of tree, and name it exactly what you want to name it. So I'm going to go ahead and name that trunk of tree. And in reality, I want my background to be a little bit lighter here. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you, I had already pre-selected a couple pictures. And I want to show you guys how to add a picture. I'm just going to do like come down a little bit more. Just a little bit. Yeah. My colors aren't making me happy. Alright, so we're just going to pretend that's okay. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to turn my tree trunk back on, and then I'm going to come over here, and one of my students before had done this. I'm going to go to my paintbrush, and then I'm going to go to a, I don't know, like a darker blue. And we're going to pretend there's a pond back here. And I just did the one thing that you guys probably don't want to do. I'm going to edit undo brush tool, and I'm going to add another layer in here. And the reason why I'm actually adding this layer in between the trunk and the background is because I want this object that I'm putting in, I'm going to put like a lake in here. I want it to go behind my tree trunk. So we're going to pretend this is a little lake. It's totally weird, but whatever. It's just a painting. I'm not trying to spend a whole lot of time on it. I just want to see you guys to see the ideas of what you can do back here. I'm going to name this lake. And then I'm going to start to, and I can just keep my lake, and then I want to start to come in here with like a bright green. Let's see. I want more of a lime green here. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And I want a hard brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a lily pad here. It's quite the little lily pad. I'm horrible at drawing with a mouse. And I don't have an actual mouse. I'm using my finger here on my laptop, so that's we're gonna pretend that's our lily pad. You'll notice down here in the corner I have two pictures. I'll show you guys. It's a nice little email. Right here are my two pictures. Okay, and if you want to bring a picture in, you'll notice one's a PNG and one's a JPEG. Now the difference, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this quite on my screen, but if you open the PNG, that background should be clear. It should be transparent. So if I drag it to Photoshop, and I'm going to actually drag both of these documents to Photoshop. Hold on one second. Let me get this other guy here and drag it to Photoshop. So I'm going to drag both images to Photoshop. You'll notice that your painting disappeared, which is fine. They're just up here in your toolbar. The PNG has a blank background. You don't have to cut anything out with the PNG. I can simply split my screen, oops, where'd he just go? There he is. Alright, take my screen, split the screen, and then just take my frog on my move tool. I'm going to take this. I'm just having all kinds of issues today. Come down here. Actually, you know what? Go back up here for a minute. Thank you. Come again. Alright. I'm going to take my frog PNG and just use my move tool and drag it over here onto my painting. Just so happens he ended up being like the perfect size for my image. If you have a JPEG, if I do this, watch what's going to happen. My whole image is going to come over here. So you actually have to go back and cut out the background. Is that easy? Especially for this image, yes. This is just your first project in Photoshop, so please, please, please don't think that you need to go ahead and overdo it. When you want, using a PNG is fine for this project. I'll click my frog, I'll add my frog on here, name my layer frog, and there you go. You can add a couple frogs. You can make the frog a little bit bigger by hitting Command and T. And then you can make it bigger and you can make it smaller. If you want to make like a giant frog, make a giant frog. I'm clicking the check mark here. Just to commit to that. I can also hit Command T and turn my image. Okay. Some of you guys may be wondering, why is my frog going behind my tree? I can't see my frog. Well, anything that you have in your layers palette is in a specific order. Trunk of tree is on the top. So this trunk of the tree is going to be on top of everything else. So if I want my frog on top of the tree, I need to move my frog copy up on top of my tree. And then I can go ahead and shrink it if I want to shrink it, make it bigger if I want to make it bigger, whatever you'd like to do. Okay? So that's how you go ahead and add another image into a painting and how you paint the background. Remember, you have two options. You can use your gradient tool or your paint bucket. You can also use a JPEG. If you want to use a JPEG, I'll show you how to do that quickly because it's quite easy. I always tell kids use your fourth tool down and use your quick select tool. Again, your tool options bar is going to change. You can change the size of your brush. You can add or you can take away. So when I start this, I'm going to try to select my frog. And I'm noticing, look, it's getting part of the white. Okay? So I'm getting, oh, it just didn't like me. I'm getting part of the frog, which is fine. But all I have to do is go ahead, go to my minus tool and get rid of some of it. Another option would be to click on that quick select tool again and click on your magic wand. If I click on my magic wand, I just selected all of the white space. I can go ahead and hit Shift and start clicking some of this white space that I also need to add into my out of my picture. You guys see that? I'm going to go up here, go to Select Inverse. So now my frog is selected. I will be around to help you if you really want to cut an image out. Do you have to? Absolutely not. I just hit Command T and I'm making my frog a little smaller. We can pretend he's like a baby or something over here and put him on the same lily pad, which this lily pad probably already sunk. So you guys can go ahead and do something like that. Honestly, especially for this project, because it is your first starting project here, I always just recommend use a PNG if you really want to add a photograph or something, or add an image into your painting. You know, you guys can do that if you want to make it more interesting. Other than that, you guys are finished. You guys can save it. Go to File, Save. You're going to save it into Project 1. And when you're finished, hit Save, and you can be done. Thank you.